Look, I love Super Saiyan just as much as the next person. It's one of, if not everybody's first intro to the concept of power-ups in shonen, and it changed everything forever going forward. Dragon Ball in general has some Hall of Fame transformations. Ozaru was legendary. Fusion is literally the greatest trope in fiction. The various forms of Super Saiyan are elite for the most part, but in terms of raw creativity, nothing in Dragon Ball tops Kaio-Ken. This form has everything. Hall of Fame design, an actual drawback that has consequences, one of the coldest sound effects of all time, and a super interesting concept in terms of what it actually does to the user's body. Kaio-Ken is one of the most creative and legendary aspects of Dragon Ball. Kaio-Ken is a form I didn't come to fully appreciate until kinda recently. Like, why would I gas this technique when the most beautiful creature in the known universe exists? But this form is truly a hidden gem, a diamond in the rough, a golden needle in a stack of hay, the apple of our... It may not be as visually vibrant and crazy as the Super Saiyans, or the giant Namekians, or whatever Frieza and his people got going on, but the all-red look is the definition of less is more. The look of Kaio-Ken tells you everything you need to know about it. It's red hot and multiplies your ki to insane levels. It low-key looks a little painful, especially when the multiplier starts going up. Like, there's a reason you never see Goku smiling in this form versus literally any other one, especially with Super Saiyan. Goku got so comfortable with Super Saiyan, partially due to like just having it on for so long during that 10 days before the Cell games. He got so comfortable with Super Saiyan that it's like, dog, this might as well be his base form. But Goku could never do that with Kaio-Ken. You can't just keep Kaio-Ken on. You're going to die the next day. That form is like a, I need this now. I need a boost. I need a little push. That's going to take a cost at my lifespan, probably at the cost of like immense power in the moment. When Goku hits this form, you can literally see that his muscles are probably screaming for help. But that's part of what makes this form so much more interesting than the later ones we see down the line. The drawback of Doom. Kaio-Ken literally destroys the user's body. This is the law of equivalent exchange in full effect. You get an insane amplification of your power at the cost of your body's health. This literally gave Goku the most insane muscle spasms of death mid-fight. The fact that there's an actual cost to this form intensifies the stakes whenever it's used, and having the ability to multiply it further and further makes it so that in theory it would be able to keep up with the infinite power creep this series has. I mean, training one's base form also does that too though, but the fact that it can go to an infinite level of stacking leads to some truly dramatic moments. In Hello Next's humble opinion, I think what makes a form and a transformation in storytelling good is its drawbacks. Look, shout out all these overpowered forms, that's really fun. Shout out the power fantasy of it all, but the drawbacks and what it takes from the user is what truly adds drama to it. I want it to cost something. I want it to be interesting. Make it interesting, okay? And you can't just one-shot everybody and then that's just it. Kinkai told Goku not to increase it more than 2 times, and look what happened. He ended up being pushed to the point of Kaio-Ken times 20. It is genuinely a miracle this man's body ain't explode right then and there. He pushed it even further to times 100 in the movie, but that's that movie sauce of doom, so I don't know what to do with that. The fact that it can be stacked onto other transformations is so cool too. I don't remember if Kaio-Ken Blue still retains the drawback though, because I don't remember it being that big of a deal in Super, which kind of sucks, but the concept of stacking Kaio-Ken with other forms is so tough regardless. Also, I guess a lot of people don't really consider it a transformation the same way as Super Saiyan would be, and I get that logic, similar to Ultra Instinct, but both of those come with enough significant visual changes for it to count, to me at least. Like, the whole discussion of whether or not Kaio-Ken is a transformation versus a technique to me is like, from my POV, it's both. Kaio-Ken is a technique and also a transformation, to me at least. Look, it does the exact same thing visually as all the other transformations. I say technique also. Look, truthfully, I be using them shits interchangeably, but imagine how hard it would be if it was stacked onto other forms too. This really makes me wish other characters learned the technique, because imagine what Gohan would be like with the Ultimate X Kaio-Ken stack of Doom. Well, just be read. I mean, Ultimate Gohan is also one of those, is it a transformation or not, ass topics too. But imagine if the fusion stacked them. Bearing witness to Kaio-Ken X Super Vegito would literally add 3 years onto my lifespan. Goku did stack it on a Super Saiyan to make Super Kaio-Ken for like 2 seconds against Pikkon, which was Hall of Fame, but that wasn't in the manga. Still a go to use of the technique regardless. Also, it's kind of interesting that Kinkai invented the technique, but he's never used it. I don't remember if it's explicitly stated why. I'm assuming his body just couldn't handle it, but it says a lot about him as an appreciator of the craft to be able to create a technique that he himself can't access. Like, he was just waiting for the perfect vessel to teach it to. And I know we never see this, especially now, but just imagine what it was like for Kinkai to like go through the process of creating this whole technique slash transformation and what that was like for him. Like, what brings you to this conclusion? Was it on some like Bruce Banner, Tony Stark, theoretically, if a nigga did this to his ki, he would be able to do this and this to his body type beat? Or was it like Bubbles, Gregory, I'm finna use y'all niggas as test dummies? Bubbles and Gregory would literally explode if they tried the Kaio-Ken. So I'm curious as to how he came to that, okay? Also, I love that Kaio-Ken's not locked behind genetics like Super Saiyan, so theoretically, everybody is capable of accessing it. Now, how many of their bodies could handle the form is the real question. I think Krillin and Ten Shinhan especially could actually make Kaio-Ken work. Obviously, Gohan and all the other Saiyans could because their bodies are Viltrumite bodies of just hardened iron. But like in terms of the humans, well, I don't really know if Tien counts, but in terms of the humans of Dragon Ball, Krillin and Ten Shinhan could definitely make Kaio-Ken work. And it would be a lot more dramatic for them too, because their bodies aren't no Saiyan bodies. They would have a lot bigger of a drawback, and so it would probably make for a lot more dramatic storytelling. It feels like creatively there's so much they could do with this form. It would also be neat to see how characters utilize the form in different ways though. Also, shout out on my One Piece lovers. I know Gear 2 has to be inspired by this form in some way because they're way too similar. Glowing red / pink skin that gives the user a crazy speed and power boost at the cost of their body's health and lifespans in return. This is divine inspiration right here. I like that One Piece makes it more personalized to Luffy by explaining it with him taking advantage of being made of rubber and literally speeding up his blood flow to the point of rapid expansion where any normal person's organs would literally just burst right then and there. Look, I couldn't not make this about One Piece for just a couple seconds, gang. My bad. But Kaio-Ken does feel like the blueprint for that form. Hey, check this out though. Boom!
Look, I'm gonna keep it a stat. The Kaio-Ken technique is definitely a sleeper technique, okay? You get power, but oh my gosh, you lose power. Did you see Goku when he used the Kaio-Ken against Vegeta, against Turles, against Pikkon, against Hit? Oh my, bro, you see the drawbacks. The only problem I have with the Kaio-Ken for real is why didn't the Earthlings use it? I feel like Krillin should have used the Kaio-Ken. Who all went to Otherworld? It was Piccolo, Chaozu, Tien, Yamcha, everyone who went to Otherworld. I don't care if it's filter or not. We literally saw it on King Kai's world. Do you know how cracked they would be if they had the Kaio-Ken? I think the Kaio-Ken wasn't utilized enough. I did love when they used it in Dragon Ball Super. I'm gonna be real. People was like, it's a nostalgia pull in the whole nine. The way they used it in Dragon Ball Super was very cracked to me. They brought it back in a way that made sense for Goku because he had no other technique that was kind of new beyond Super Saiyan Blue up to this point. So it was like, times 10. Goku was like, dang, what is a technique that I know that I can just boost my power in a quick amount of time without just keep on training, right? The Kaio-Ken technique. And he stacked it with Super Saiyan Blue. Not to mention in the beginning it was a times 10. And then when he gets to the tournament of power, it's times 20. You have to be kidding me. Goku, Super Kaio-Ken. It's not but it's like, I'll probably take Super Saiyan Blue Kaio-Ken before I take Super Kaio-Ken. That's like crazy filler. Like, we knew that was filler. You know, shout out to Kaio-Ken. I think the Kaio-Ken has a lot of good moments in the first half of Dragon Ball before Super Saiyan just high-tied it and just became the regular transformation for everybody. What is the best moment? I mean, honestly, you got Kaio-Ken times 20 against Frieza. You have Kaio-Ken times 4 against Vegeta. And you got Kaio-Ken times 2 against Nappa. Shout out to Kaio-Ken, bro. I feel like if you use Kaio-Ken IRL, you would actually die. You will get botched. But nah, man, you know what I'm saying? Dragon Ball back! I do believe Kaio-Ken is podium for techniques. It's not technically a transformation, it's a technique. So actually, it's a hybrid of both. So honestly, shout out to Kaio-Ken, bro. But it's not no Super Saiyan. Nexus, thank you so much for the collab again. I'll see y'all on my channel. I'm out. Peace.
Whoa. Oh, hey. Miss me? But nah, Kaio-Ken is really like that. I also like that it can be used in shorter bursts too, so as to not absolutely fry Goku's body. And look, I grew up in the early 2000s, aka the great Dragon Ball recession, right? Where there was no Dragon Ball. All that was there was the games, right? So what really carried a lot of my childhood in terms of Dragon Ball, and really my intro to Dragon Ball, I was 4 years old playing Budokai 2 at my cousin's house. You feel me? My point is, Kaio-Ken in Dragon Ball games was the intro to this form for me. And so Dragon Ball games and how they use Kaio-Ken is really cool to me. Probably my favorite thing ever is Xenoverse and how Xenoverse used Kaio-Ken, because it's like your OC was using Kaio-Ken no matter what the race was. Every person had access to Kaio-Ken, just like what I was saying earlier. Imagine if like niggas just started busting out Kaio-Ken. That would be so tough. In the games, it's a lot more transformation heavy. In Xenoverse, if I'm remembering correctly, it's been a very long time since I played Xenoverse, but there was like a time limit or maybe a key limit limit or something like that. Like it would drain your ki, maybe, I don't remember right, but it was a lot more finite than Super Saiyan or all the other transformations and things like that. And I think that's just how Kaio-Ken should be. Now in the Budokai games, the OG Budokai games, I don't remember how Kaio-Ken was. In my brain, it was just like, it just was a transformation. Budokai 3, that kind of just was a transformation. I don't know if it had any crazy drawbacks in the game the way it does in Xenoverse. I just love that Kaio-Ken was like, that was Goku's for a little minute. Let's just start stacking Kaio-Ken on some shit again. But yeah, shout out Kaio-Ken, shout out Dragon Ball, and shout out you.
I can't feel my face right now, I'm burning up. I got this feeling that I won't come down, like, got this feeling that I won't come down, like, got this feeling that I won't come